If you're about to buy a GTX 1080 Ti in 2026, don't. Yes, it was a legend. 11 gigs of VRAM, destroyed 1440p for years, but that was 2018. Today, you're buying nearly decade-old architecture. No DLSS, no frame generation, no modern feature support, and efficiency. It pulls more power than newer mid-range cards while performing the same or worse. More heat, more noise, and here's the real problem. Sellers still price it close to RTX 3060 territory. You're paying modern prices for old tech. But the 1080 Ti isn't even the worst GPU trap in 2026. Watch the full breakdown of the biggest GPU traps this year. If you're about to buy
If I break this dirt and a creeper falls on me and I instantly die, I'm going to cry, okay? I will be so... This is a grass block. Wait, that was a villager. What the... Huh? Who the heck are you? Get out of my... No, I didn't mean to punch you. No. Is that... It's trying to kill me. I've been at the surface for 3 seconds and I've made enemies who are... What is that? Hey. Who are... What is this? Is this a village? It's a wandering trader. I don't know. I don't understand this update. But personal space, buddy.
This falling apart gaming PC just gave me a shot because anytime you go to try to shut the system off, it turns off, but then turns itself back on every single time. And you can never get it to stay off unless you manually come around back and flip the power switch, which you can imagine gets annoying. So what's going on here? Typically when you see this behavior, it's either caused by a faulty power supply or some kind of accessory waking the system back up. For instance, a mouse or a keyboard. But I don't think it's either, because if I unplug both of them and use the power button to shut the system off, we'll see that it ends up doing the exact same thing. So then what gives? Because my customer said that he was also getting some weird crashing with the system with black screens all the time, we're gonna go ahead and press the Windows key on our keyboard and type View Reliability History and open that, as this will open one of my favorite tools in Windows called Reliability Monitor to go ahead and check for errors, which actually logs all the errors the system's gotten over the past couple weeks, where we'll see today we've already gotten 3 hardware errors, which if we simply click on will give us a little bit more information, because we can look at our problem event name was a live kernel event code 144, which is often the clear sign of a USB issue, especially when we look at the bucket ID. It says reset recovery stop failed USB XHCI, which is an error with a USB controller. But which one? Because most modern computers have multiple. Well, anytime I see a USB add-in card like this, that's usually my #1 suspect. And in fact, if I just plug something simple into it like my keyboard, we'll see that doesn't work. In order to get this card out, we're gonna first need to pull out this RGB bracket so we can slide this card right out and disconnect it from power. Where now with this out, when we go to try to shut this PC off, we'll see that it actually stays off, like it's supposed to. I bet it's probably because one of these controllers likely failed. Based on that error that we were getting, that was probably sending some kind of wake signal back over to the computer each time, preventing it from turning off. So now that we solved the problem, let's put this guy back and figure out this whole radiator situation, which looks to have screwed in previously. So let's just start getting it unscrewed so we can pull this guy out and see, yeah, there are 3 other screws here that likely ripped through the cheap mounting points. This is a great example of why it's so important to have all your screws in your radiator, because usually having 4 isn't enough, especially if you mount anything to any of these flimsy breakaway brackets like our customer did. To prevent this from ever happening again, we're gonna pull this out and flip these fans and pull out this top fan so we can remount this radiator up top, fully secure this time, before remounting our front fascia. And by running this cooler up top, not only is it way more secure, it's actually healthier for our pump, because it reduces the risk of air bubbles forming in our pump, as the pump now will always be the lowest point in the loop, which means that any air bubbles that may get formed, they're going to actually go up to the radiator and eliminate the pump from running on air, which can cause premature failure. So with all that better, all we got to do now is get this system cleaned up by taking this PC out back and blowing it out. That looks so much better. So with this PC now back up and running, thanks to us no longer having this USB expansion card installed, let's get the system back over to this falling apart gaming PC just gave my shot because anytime you go to try to shut the system off, it turns off, but then turns itself back on every single time. And you can never get it to stay off unless you manually come around back and flip the power switch, which you can imagine gets annoying. This falling apart gaming PC just gave my shot because anytime you go to this falling apart gaming PC
出大事了！监视器影像中发现囚犯冲出房门，他们全都跑去找狱警。这位狱警因为身体出现突发状况，让他的心跳几乎快停止，还让他重摔倒地。其中一位囚犯发现狱警需要帮忙，他开始敲着房门，然后大喊狱警的名字。其他囚犯也一起加入他的行动。好不容易狱警重新站起来，并用仅剩的力气按下打开房门的开关，之后他失去了意识。囚犯们全都冲了出来，他们打了办公室电话。
Just because we've made a mistake out there, it doesn't make us bad people.
I didn't see him as an officer at that point. I just seen another human being going down, needing help.
Mistakes every guy in here.
一起为善良的人按个赞吧！出大事了！监视器影像中发现囚犯冲出房门，他们全都跑去找狱警。这位狱警因为身体出现突发状况，让他的心跳几乎快停止，还让他重摔倒。
不论你信不信，人类理论上有可能第一次可以测光速了。没错，测光速这事儿啊，还真的是物理学史上的一个逻辑死循环。教科书告诉你光速是29979万2458米每秒，可没告诉你我们从来没有真正的单向测量过光速啊。一般我们理解的速度，比如说弹弓的速度，知道起点和终点的时间就行了，但光不行，你没办法像这样子用一个钟表去计算起点和终点的时间，因为光跑到尽头也是需要时间的呀。你更没办法用2个钟表去测。你看啊，打电话发信号掐表没可能，因为信号也是光速，你连光速都不知道，怎么算信号的延时？用2块一样的钟表约定好时间也没可能，因为两地的同时在物理学上没法被证明，这是同时性的相对性。面对面对准表在人肉得到终点更没可能，因为钟表一动它就有了相对运动速度，就变慢了，这是时间膨胀。想用公式把误差修正过来更是死循环，因为你想绕开光速去同步时钟，但是修正时钟误差的公式里面偏偏需要光速啊。所以这么多年来我们测的其实都是光往返的平均速度。连爱因斯坦的那篇狭义相对论论文也是强行定义光往返的速度一样啊。那问题来了，怎么验证光的单向速度就恒定是29979万2458米每秒呢？2022年有科学家发表论文说可以用地球啊。在旋转的系统当中，把光分成反向的2路，在汇合的时候会出现时间差，因为有一束光需要跑更长的路径才能够追上移动的终点，这叫做萨尼亚克效应。然后在地球表面铺一段10公里的光线，从一端发射光，另一端利用静止卫星垂直打下的激光记录到达时间，利用萨尼亚克效应可以计算出来地球表面局部的绝对运动速度，再结合地球公转就反推出来单程光速了。但是现实中做不到啊，因为这个时间差是飞秒级别的10的-15次风秒，目前的系统误差、地球轨道经度等等根本拿捏不住这么变态的尺度啊。但至少从理论层面来说，这是第一次有可能测单程光速了。不过真正可怕的是，万一未来测出来单程光速不是恒定的这个数，你觉得物理学会发生什么事儿呢？
If you place the fan in place invisible jump pads, the fan would look really terrible and doesn't resemble a fan at all. Instead, start by coloring the fan and changing its speed. Next, to indicate the effect that will happen, let's add a custom particle using this texture. Make the particles big, increase the speed and angle. We can also extend the area. And finally, let's give it a fade in and fade out and randomize the size and speed a little. Now, after placing that there, it already looks much better. However, to make it blow the player away, we're going to use the force block. We can put 1 here and scale it up to the correct size and put the force at around 1. Finally, we can finish it off with a clean sound effect that loops and plays depending on proximity to the fan, and you've just created a clean fan that even spins your icon around. Very nice. If you place the fan in place invisible jump pads, the fan would look really terrible and doesn't resemble a fan at all. Instead, start by coloring the fan and changing its
大熊和蓝胖子在玩吹球的小玩具，80后小时候应该见过。通过用力吹气，让塑料球浮到空中，蓝胖子肺活量是真大，轻而易举就成。